this is going to be a hot topic, so I'm a little bit scared to even begin, but I'm afraid to unmute Florence because I'm not sure how angry she still is about the article she saw. But ladies, it's good to see all of you. Harriet, it's good to have you back. Florence, stop slapping your face. You're going to get bruises. And Anne, it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Josephine.
Thank you, Josephine. Nice to see you. You look more Jamaican than I do. But I have my passport.
Yeah, well, you have a better view than I do, so looks don't really count in this, comparing to that. I wish I was at the beach. Do you know the last time any of us was at a beach with palm trees? Look at your background.
It's heavenly, guys. That's all I can say.
Okay, well, we hope you're having a lot of fun. So guys, we're talking about marriage, and there was an article that was in the newspapers today is Saturday, 2 days ago, and it had a number of you up in arms. You're very angry. So first of all, I want you to talk to me about the article and why you were upset about it. I'm going to start with Anne because I see Florence is raring to go. So Anne, please talk to me about the article and how you felt about it.
I just laugh at such things as usual. I was short of words. Remind me the headline again. What is your plan? What is your plan? What if nobody marries you? I'm like, really? This is 2020. But maybe it was written in 1880, like Florence said, or some people are saying these days. I mean, what is your plan? Like, is marriage the end of everything? Is it life? Is it oxygen? Is it a basic need? It's a good thing, of course. Automatically, marriage is beautiful. The whole idea of marriage, a good marriage, is beautiful, but it's not the end of everything. It's not oxygen. You won't die if you do not get married. The same as if you're married, you won't be better than someone who is not married. Like, guys, let me hear Florence because she's been sitting.
I just started seething and I rolled my eyes, and like, if I could have put this in emojis, all those angry emojis, they'll be, oh. Like, what the hell? No, seriously, just the heading by itself, and if you read the article, maybe Harriet will go into that, it's so shallow. Like, the writer did not make any points at all. I was pissed, period. Because, guys, marriage, I don't think it's no longer necessary. I know I'm married. I shouldn't be saying this. I should be the person. I was opposed to marriage since history. I don't know, immemorial. But it shouldn't be something we use to determine someone's plans for the future. What a stupid question. Do you have plans if nobody marries you? And I'm sure she went on Twitter and searched, because when you go on Twitter and put in that question, you're going to see it first came from I saw January, March in some Nigerian paper or something like that, and other guys were asking it, and some people were like, specifically, this is going to women. Although in the article, she tries to include the men if no one proposes or if no one blah, blah, blah. Oh, Harriet, have a go.
I'd wanted to read a bit of the article so that it gives us some context before Florence spoke. The article starts with, sometime last week, a few friends on social media sarcastically shared a post. So what is your plan if nobody marries you? And they got me thinking. I would also love to throw this question to my single and searching friends out there. Do you have any plans for your life just in case nobody ever accepts your proposal, for my brothers, or offers you a marriage proposal, for my sisters? I realized that as girls, we are raised to wait for Prince Charming on a magical love chariot to come and sweep us off our feet. But as we grow from girls to women, we realize that love is not a piece of candy we once dreamed of. So Harriet, it would be good to have your thoughts now that we have a bit of what the article said, how she started out. Well, I'm not really going to go at her because she says she got it from somewhere else, whether she did or whether it's her personal thoughts. I would like us to discuss it in general of what that article, an article like that actually says. Please let Harriet speak first, then we can come back to you.
I know, because you said something people should know. You said she got it from somewhere else, but she owns it. She owns the question. Harriet, please.
All right, Harriet.
Okay, thank you, Josephine. One of the things that stood out for me in the article was actually the paragraph which says, years pass by so fast, you might never realize because you are so busy chasing career and worldly desires. But at some point, it hits everyone that marriage is still pending. The elders are good at reminding you every chance they get. And much as it's always interpreted as nagging, it usually comes from a place of wishing you the best in life. So I wasn't angry when I when I read the article, because I've seen these kinds of articles from this particular writer and from the media, not just in Uganda, but elsewhere. So I used to get angry before, and if that was me, say 2 years ago, I would have gone on my blog and written a rebuttal. But I think I've reached a place where I realize when someone is not recognizing the histories of something that they are talking about. I realize when someone does not show willingness to acknowledge why some people have ambivalence about marriage. So that was my reaction, and I think I told Florence. But of course, it's a very problematic article. It reinforces everything that women's rights advocates and everybody who is pro-equality is fighting for, that we need a partnership and not a hierarchy in a marriage. And I think the trend these days is for people to call their wives and husbands partners. I think it's in recognition of that. But where this article comes from is from a place of an unmarried woman is doomed, is not an achiever, is lacking, you know, which reinforces patriarchy. And patriarchy, as we know, is a system where the power dynamics is unbalanced in favor of the men. So if we are still advocating for marriage, and we know the conditions under which people get married, it means that we are keeping the status quo. We are advocating for the status quo. Instead, what we should be doing is asking ourselves, how can we balance this up? How can we make this thing called marriage beneficial for both partners, rather than going in front of a church, going to church and standing in front of a priest and saying, I promise to submit to my husband. And then when the marriage hits the rocks, one of the things you'll see again in the papers is a counselor telling, you know, someone who has written in, my husband is doing this, and the first thing they'll say is, look into yourself, what have you been doing? You know, so it's always, the burden is always on the woman to make sure she shrinks herself, she contorts herself to fit in that box that the man wants her to be, or society wants her to be. Yeah.
Okay, that said, Harriet, I think it's a good time now to find out what all the other people on this group think about marriage. What do you think? Is it overrated? Is it overrated? Is it something that you aspire to? Are you thinking about that question? Okay, no, let's not talk about the question yet. But is it overrated from where you are? I know Florence is married, Anne is unmarried. What do you guys think?
Not yet. Anne is
not yet married. Yet, I'm sorry. I should have
working on it.
Yet.
Oh, okay.
It's very important.
She's working on it.
There's a bit of words where I want to use the opportunity to talk about marriage and whether it's overrated or underrated or rated very well. I think, of course, marriage is, like I said before, it's beautiful. But I wanted to go back a little bit to the question before about what is your plan. The question is so old, it's so dated.
Anne, I'm going to come to that question. I've not yet asked it, but I want to find out what your view of marriage is. I will ask you that
marriage
question, I promise.
Perfect. I like marriage. I love a good marriage.
Oh, you've been married, you know this.
It's a partnership. If you're in a good marriage, I think it's I think we are not meant to be alone, really. Like people are meant to be relational creatures. So if you have a partnership that benefits both of you, that's the ideal thing. But that doesn't mean marriage is the only relationship out there. Humans, even if we are relational, you can still have a very good relationship with your friends, with your family, with your other work colleagues. There are all these other relationships that can be as fulfilling or even more fulfilling than marriage. So marriage for me is not everything. No, it's not everything. And so the idea that everyone should be in a marriage relationship is really absurd and ridiculous in this day and age, where you don't need a man to protect you, where we don't live in jungles and caves and there are wild animals and you need a strong human being who can, ward off all the animals. No, we have houses, we have civilization, we have food, we have everything we need. So why should you
I have a question for you.
Yes.
And I have a question for you. You like marriage. You love it. Actually, you're not married yet, so clearly you're
Yes.
looking forward to it. But I want to understand what your idea of marriage is.
My idea of a marriage is me finding a man. I'm not into women, so you guys are off the hook. The idea of marriage for me. No way. No way. No, there's no choice here. I am sadly, unfortunately, attracted to males only. So my idea is finding a man who shares the same aspirations as myself, a man who has grown, who is mature, who is supportive, and I'm supportive of them. Of course, there has to be some chemistry, and we need to keep growing together, almost at the same pace. Not me growing and then leaving the man behind, that kind of thing. So yeah, in short, a marriage is a partnership for me.
Right, so I wanted to just know. I wanted to just know if it involved all the ceremonies and everything that then put you in with the written document that stamps it and approves it and means
document. I love the legality of marriage because then it's legal. Then it adds more. It's a commitment. You see, marriage is a choice to say I commit to this person, not because of feelings of. When I feel like I am going to commit, when I don't feel like I'm not going to commit. But once something is on paper and it's legal and you're bound by law, I think it adds some value there. But I am okay with a man who comes and then they are more evolved into this whole thinking of me, I'm like Oprah, and you. Yeah, we can work it. We can work along those lines as well.
I'm a little confused, but okay, Florence, what do you think about marriage? Is it overrated? Is it underrated?
All right, I'll try to become married, in my opinion, even before I'm married. And I still think this. Honestly, it's not necessary. It's not. So that's why I'm like, if anyone is being quizzed over, do you want to get married, you have to get married, like that has always been my thought, that it's not necessary, it's not the end of it all. But of course, looking at it historically, I know I was at LSE, one of the papers I was supposed to write, which I never got to write, was, is marriage still relevant? And I was going to look at all the different ways, we've evolved, how we've had a transition, pre-industrial era, looking at even, the fact that now we have lesbians, we have gay people, the LGBT community, and all that now in the mix. Like, marriage is no longer that institution that we used to treasure in the past. Historically, if you allow me to just say, briefly what marriage was about, marriage was seen as a lifelong partnership. It functioned as a lifelong arrangement for having and nurturing children, and it was the burden was mostly on the woman. You get married, you have loads of children. Trust me, in these societies, developed societies, pre-industrial era, women here were having about 7 children, 8 children, 9 children, 10 children. I know I stayed with an Italian friend once who told me that, oh, my mom, there were 14, So it was that bad. Although now, of course, their fertility rates have come down to 2. But before, entry into marriage meant childbearing, child rearing, taking care of the house. That is how it was seen. Until, there came an enlightenment period, a transition, where people actually realized, you actually do not have to get married to have children. And, fertility levels began, coming down. And we're like, wow, I don't need to have children. Women were beginning to have careers. Remember, in the past, women weren't working. They were just looked at, the others. So here they see they have the opportunity. They can pursue education. They can work. They can be teachers. They can go in the mines. They can do all of it. So the institution began, becoming unstable. And now it's more unstable, especially because, well, you don't, like I said, you don't have to have a child in a marriage. And if you're gay, you choose not to have a child, you can adopt. Or if you're a woman and you're still a lesbian, fine, I can get, if I want my own child, I can go to a swamp or share with my partner, or we can adopt. So you see, all of these have rendered the marriage institution unstable. And for me, I've always been like, no, hello, I don't know if I've told you, my father had, my grandfather, if I go to my father, had about, 14 wives.
Okay.
My father had about 4. I don't know if they even ever got married officially, but any man in Uganda who has women, we always call it a marriage anyway, because anyway, there's some form of union. So there are different unions. Maybe we should also really specify that. Although this article was looking at that one, go to the church, get a ring put on it, you know. But you know, people are having different relations, like Anne said. You don't have to get this in a marriage. And I guess we shall, like, well, I won't go into the question Josephine was mentioning about, you know, the plan. Honestly, now marriage is more for economic security. In the past, it was more like that, but now even people use it, you know, just for the convenience of it, and that's why it's now legalized. Obviously, you want a partner, but of course, the papers don't really matter. They just make that legal. But if only we could just sail through life, you know, deciding to cohabitate without going through the stresses of, oh, find a church, go get married. And not everyone is a bloody Christian, for crying out loud. Not everyone is a Muslim. Not everyone is whatever the cultures, you know, that push you into churches. Some people are pagans and they also want to get married. So you see how the institution is a bit, you know, unstable. No care for it, and also become less attractive than it was maybe in the mid-60s, where practically everyone was like, let's get married, let's get married. Women are now postponing childbearing, even within marriage. Hello, I've been married.
Florence. Florence. All right, you mentioned something about unstable, and I've been trying to signal to you because I know you can't hear me very clearly to tell you that your internet's been going on and off. So at some points, well, okay, I don't know if it was just me, but I was struggling to hear what you were saying. So watch my hand out for some of those signals. When we can't hear you, I'll let you know. But that said, Harriet, let's go back to the DM question. What would you do if you fail to find someone to marry? That's the assumption that you're actually looking for someone to marry. I think it's important for us to look into that question, not so much to answer it, but to look behind the question. Like,
we can try to answer it as well.
Questions? You guys can try to answer it. I honestly have no... Harriet?
No, yeah. So I think for me, the question you asked, Anne, is marriage overrated? Is what really like interested me, in the sense that how do we view marriage, right? If I am living with someone and we've not gone to church or to court, we are not considered marriage. We are not considered married. So it's about the ceremony. And for me, that's where my problem is, because that is where we have all these written things stipulating what the woman should deliver and what the man is expected to get, right? So why should someone be bound together by a paper? And that for me is my point of departure from what Anne was saying. So it's overrated in the sense that we give it parameters that do not favor women, and that's my problem with it. So even the question, what's your plan if nobody marries you, is an assumption. It's an assumption that, you know, that is what you aspire to be. I think it was Chimamanda who said we shouldn't consider marriage as an achievement. You know, we shouldn't raise girls to think that you have to aspire to marriage. We never tell boys that you should look forward to your tux and suit on marriage. It's the woman who's always thinking about, oh, the white dress, oh, the hair, the tiara, you know, which is not a problem. My problem is that what does the power what's the status of the power relations between the two people? That's where my problem comes.
Why is it the defining factor for women?
I think it's because of the place of women in society. Society has made women second to men. So, and if you look at marriage, it emphasizes that a woman sits on the ground, a man sits on the chair. A woman is not the head of the family, the man is. The woman takes care of the children. If a child is crying, I grew up, you know, hearing men say, your child is crying, can you make it keep quiet, you know? So yeah. What's that? When the child was being made, it was two people. So why should nurturing be one person's thing? If a woman is unmarried, she's described as unsettled, right? So and that doesn't apply to a man. A man can be whatever he wants, but a woman's life is defined by, you know, whether she has a ring on it, which for me is absurd.
All right, so what would you do if you fail to find someone to marry you?
Well, she really wants to get married.
No, Florence, you get me wrong.
No,
I
I'm
would
joking.
I would really love to get married,
I know.
but I'm not dying to get married. So what would I do? I suppose I'd keep living the way I am. And you guys kept hinting at it's no longer necessary for you to be married to have children. I have children. I'm not married. So clearly you don't need marriage to be with children. So I'll keep living my life. I'll keep pursuing my goals, my dreams. I'll keep growing. I'll keep, and newsflash, I'll keep dating. I'll keep meeting men. I'll keep, traveling. I'll live. I don't know where that question
You
comes
wouldn't
from,
die,
but
is
like
the long and
Harriet
short
kept
of it
saying,
all.
it's a problematic
Exactly.
question. Karunji, it's a problematic question. We can't, the question is problematic, to be honest.
Yeah, agree.
Because
Yeah.
marriage is not an achievement. Okay? Okay,
Okay.
I have to go.
All right. Thank you, Anne, for muting your microphone. I don't know what you're doing out at the time when we had a show. You should have been in a quiet environment for this, but thank you for joining in anyway. So guys, why are we constantly bombarded with such silly questions in the media and society about marriage? I mean, we're all struggling with the question, why are women targeted as failures if they choose to marry or not, or if they are chosen, or if they, whichever way it goes? Why do these things keep coming up?
I'll go first. I think because from the day a girl is born, she is looked at as a wife. So all her life, that's what she is prepared to do. Her morality, her aspirations are all tailored towards achieving that end goal of being a wife. If you study too much, they'll say you will scare away men. If you talk too much, they'll say that mouth of yours will chase away men. So it's the way society has structured itself, and what women are expected to do, are expected to be. Yeah.
Florence?
Yes, you mentioned the word society. Societal expectations. Since we are born, the minute you come out and your sex is girl, you have to get married, they have to find you a husband. And in the past, they really were active in, finding you a husband. And the unfair bit about this is when even these societies which try to find you husbands when you're a young girl, they are looking to hook you up with someone who is like, you're a baby, but they are looking at a husband who is 20, 30 years older than you before you're even born, or even when you're born. Yeah, that's the kind of man they're looking out for you. And in other societies where it's really horrible, where they're selling off their girls as early as 10, 12, as long as the menstruation comes, by the way. An older man always, 50, 60-year-old, as long as they give you some goats. Like, it's just that we've been a trade for so long. Patriarchy, Jesus Christ, I have to say this word again, like throughout. It's the patriarchy, it's how the society was set up. And breaking away from it is hard. And I understand this, even for women, because even, sometimes we want to understand, why are women attacking fellow women, judging women for not getting married, for not wanting to have children, for choosing to be child-free? It's the society. It's been ingrained in our brains, and trust me, breaking away from it is so hard. So kudos to women who break away from this. Kudos to myself, because I saw through all that BS, because I was like, this is total BS. Why? Give a girl a chance. Let her make her own choices. Why are you making the choices for us? And people forget something that's really important, that culture is supposed to be dynamic. Why isn't it dynamic to favor the girl child? Why isn't it dynamic to favor the woman? Why isn't it changing? Someone woke up and put these rules in place. Why can't we break some of these bad rules? Why do we keep up to societal expectations? So I feel like it's going to take some time, but it will happen. It will happen.
Right.
Florence,
Yes,
you saw one of my comments when I shared that article on Facebook. One of the comments I put was, actually, it's the other way around. Men put all these rules to answer what you're saying. They put all these rules in place to make us feel like marriage is more important for us. But in truth, it's more important to them that we stay married to them, because there are all these things that a woman is expected to do. And if you analyze all those things, they do not benefit a woman at all. These things that make lives of men happier, healthier, better relaxing, support them in their careers, just be there, be a doormat, be submissive. And the Bible and religion and everything makes sure that it's it's suppressing a woman's ability to think for themselves, to make choices, to actually even do self-care for themselves.
Yeah.
And you amuse me how you actually know what the institution is asking of you, but then you're dying to get into it. So I really wish you well.
Partnership.
But let's get to the comments that have come in.
Not ignore the word partnership.
It's not all about
ignore the word partnership.
No, I'm with
Harriet wanted to say something, guys. Harriet, yes, please, Harriet.
I'll come back to defend Anne.
No, I just thought that we should recognize the fact that, and I think the reason we are having this conversation is because of a problematic article that came from a woman. If it had come from a man, it would be a different story. And so I want to recognize, I think I want us to recognize the fact that patriarchy has all genders captives. It's not just men who are propagating it, even women propagate it. And for me, that's problematic because if you point out something wrong that a fellow woman has done, the first thing people will say is, oh, she's putting down a fellow woman. But I think we should be honest with ourselves and say, we are not all immune to ignorance. We all need to go out of our way to understand where we are coming from and why in 2020 we are still telling women you need to get married because you have an expiry date. You need to have a child. You need to listen to your biological clock that's ticking. So it's not just men. I think the system is so successful that even women find it attractive. They find it normal that we should aspire to this thing. And for me, I think we shouldn't feel shy to point it out when a fellow woman is promoting this system that we are trying to overthrow.
It's sad.
All right, guys. So the comments that we have in, thanks for that, Harriet. The comments we have in are interesting enough that we should actually are going to pick pointers for actually discussing them. I'll start with Halima Atomani, who says, "Great job, ladies. Ever since I started my house construction, all my male friends told me I should forget about marriage because no man will marry me," laughing emoji. "In their words, you can't have your cake and eat it. Now I own a car and I was scraped off the marriage list." Two laughing emojis. "I'm still a strong believer of marriage and have hope it will one day happen. Maybe."
Yeah.
That's Halima.
Halima,
so
love you, girl.
Build
love
your car. I mean, when you build your house and you buy a car,
no marriage for you.
Self-made.
Or become a news manager. Have you forgotten yourself?
Moving on swiftly, we have jimmyjb, who says, "I think I have a different view though. Marriage is a holy institution whose sole purpose is to create. Selfishness is what spoils marriage and makes people start thinking it's not necessary. People do not have to marry, but that also does not mean marriage should be demonized." My thoughts.
Oh, yeah,
Jimmy, any? Okay. Sandra Chinta says, "Glad the show is here now. Been waiting since 1400 hours. Florence, do you want to offer an apology to Sandra?"
Oh my God, Sandra, our lovely fan. We love you so much. So sorry about this. It's just that I'm in Jamaica, girl. Wagwan. And you guys are 8 hours ahead of me. Harriet is in New York. You're 7 hours ahead of her. So we're trying to be, sensible, because if I'm waking up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., which is like
wouldn't see your beautiful view.
You wouldn't see my beautiful view, and I would be rambling. I would be attacking. But now I'm much calmer. I'm calmer.
That's you when you're calm? Wow. Okay.
This
Tony
topic deserves all the anger we can give it.
Thank you, Moni. Pius says, "It's good for some ladies, more so when divorce comes in. She has an escape plan. Look at Dr. Dre now." I don't follow Dr. Dre, so I don't really know what's happening there.
Okay.
Does any of you know what's happening?
Dr. Dre?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Again, Pius says, "Maybe this marriage thing ain't for everyone. Some people are not created for it and they don't know, they're just there struggling from one marriage to another. Lucky are those who are blessed in it." Mark Patrick says, "Ladies, I think the issue cuts across. Even men apparently fail to get partners to marry. The biggest challenge is we are all invested in our careers and making big in life, which makes neglect marriage or relationship aspect."
Yes.
Okay. Pius Connect says, "I personally don't believe in marriage, full stop." Twin Sadrak says, "Talk about the different egos while in marriages, relationships." I think that's for, I don't know which of you wants to tackle it. Florence, you're the one who is married. You want to talk about egos?
Different egos. Okay, this is the thing. Oh, more questions. Oh.
And Fiona Namyamba says, glad to see you all. That's what I can see on my wall. If any of you has any, okay, a couple of others have just come in. I'll take a look at those later. Florence, as you speak about the egos.
Okay, guys, here is the thing. You see, I feel like in Uganda, as is in most African cultures, we are disadvantaged because of what I've said, you know, societal expectations of women. So even the men, remember, girls who grow up saying, okay, we have to get married, we have to give birth, we have, you know, the only way you can, you know, give birth. That's why I said every time you see a marriage in Uganda happening, child is happening within the first year of marriage. It's like, if you don't get a child in the first year, society is going to judge you. They're going to look at you and say, is she barren?
In fact, Florence, we have been waiting.
See, I mean, I've been married 4 years. No child yet. Yes, ladies, gentlemen, you don't have to jump into a marriage and just get a child because it's what everyone expects. And it's proof that you're fertile. It's what everyone is looking for. Oh, 1 year in marriage, no child yet. Even when you're not ready for it, even when you're just at the height of your career. Now, for example, I came here and what? I just started, you know, looking for jobs. I was looking on jobs, doing volunteering things. And then finally I get a good job. And then what? I put a child in the mix. Deaccelerate. Come on, guys. But anyway, with marriage and why Anne loves it. Marriage, yes, it's beautiful if you find the right partner, as is when you have a stable relationship, even, you know, when you're cohabiting. So it's about really finding the right partner. Find a friend, someone you can love with, someone you can share, you know, feelings with, someone you can share your finances with, and, you know, you're genuine with each other and you decide together what to do. Remember, marriage by default somehow just says, oh, woman, responsibility. Even if a woman is working, you know, a man obviously is brought up to think that she has to take on everything. And I'm talking mostly about, I'm sorry to judge, mostly Ugandan men, you know, how they're brought up. Yes, I apologize. I hate generalizing, but it's a fact and it's something really which needs changing. It's something which has been ingrained into your brains. And, you know, some men will be looking at this talk and they'll say, oh, look at her because she's abroad. I've always lived abroad in my mind, even while in Uganda. I just came here in my 30s. So do not start blaming this on the outside countries. Some of us are, you know, aware in that countries. Some of us know our rights. Some of us know that, you know, culture is dynamic. It needs changing. But yes, marriage can be beautiful if you find the right partner. You're on the same, you know, level, you can have conversations, you can talk, you can respect each other. You don't have to kneel before him because, oh, culture says actually you have to kneel for the husband. No, you're at this relationship where you're just friends, you just hug, give me a kiss here, a peck here, or whatever. Yes, I'm not married to a white man, but black men do these things to find those black men. Ooh, they're there. So yes, marriage.
Well, Florence, I worry about what it would have been like if we'd woken you up for this conversation at 6 a.m. So I'm so glad that we waited to this hour. Nicolas says, folks, as an unmarried man, I can testify that the pressure is not just on females, it's on men too. I have lost count of how many friends, relatives, etc. ask me about marriage. Key, who is giving us more information on Dr. Dre, says his wife asked him for $2 million US per month after the divorce. So I'm confused. I think you're I don't know if he's saying that women are in this for the money they get from the divorce. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to get into that. Mark Patrick says that's very true, Cancer. It's actually a heavy burden on men as of late. Pius says Florence is karma. Mbu. Yeah,
Thank
Florence,
you, Pius.
No, I think he's being sarcastic.
Yeah.
But
don't be sarcastic, mean it.
I think what we're picking from all of this is the pressure is on everybody, but I think that for women, there's a way in which, Harriet, like you were saying at the beginning, society has placed this label, this burden on women so much so that if you're not married, you actually don't count. People are getting jobs because they're misses. People are getting jobs because they have a husband. I was talking to someone recently and she was telling me the only reason they let her into the door was because her title was a Mrs. title. So for some people, it's like it's also a step for advancement, for growth. Someone was speaking about marriage and saying marriage for them is about growth. Yes, Florence.
No, I was just going to catch him because you mentioned, the opening the door for you. And remember, then when you get into that door, then when you get pregnant, then they're going to hate on you for being a woman and, having a womb. Because, hello, you're going to get maternity leave now. It's endless. Carry on.
No, Josephine, I think that the issue that Halima raised is very important, that a woman who is becoming economically independent is looked at as a problem. And yet we have everybody saying, okay, women want equality, they want equity, so why don't they contribute? And you find women going out of their way to contribute and the man's ego gets pricked. society, gets uncomfortable that, okay, this woman is getting out of hand. So I think people should just make up their minds. What do you want? Do you want us to have our own money, or
make up your damn minds?
Yeah.
All right. There's another comment here that could be a good point of discussion. Nicolas says the pressure to marry is perhaps more of that with women, but to focus on this as a patriarchy problem is to view it from a very narrow lens. I'd rather you look at it from the social, economic, and cultural family-centric way. Also, what is a family? It is not necessarily about two married folks, male or female. Ladies? Was a minute of
no,
silence.
I'm sorry. It's all, like I said, it's rooted in patriarchy, and I'm not going to change my mind about that. And everything else really comes in. Because right now, some people, like I said already, people marry for convenience, because of that legal paper, the legality of it all. So you find it necessary. But some people are happy just, cohabitating and, living peacefully and that, but they decide to legalize it because that's the bloody law anyway at the moment, protecting you. And then you decide, sharing our assets or putting everything together so that you have that protection. You see?
Sorry, Florence, are you done?
I think
Harriet, you can go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that I hear Nicolas that the social and economic dynamics that he points to also are driven by patriarchy. It's driven by this belief that men should be more powerful than women, that women should be segregated, should be less than. So either way we look at it, it still goes back to that term that we hate so much, which existed before we knew it, pre-19th century, we already had patriarchy existing, but it's become more apparent now because of feminism. So either way you look at it, whether it's cultural, whether it's social, economic, we still have that term, which is standing in it and determining everything and whatever women do, how they relate to men.
Right. And if you could say something quickly, then I'll just check two of the other questions that have come in, not questions, but comments, and then we can wrap up.
I wanted to clear the air about thinking that someone who wants marriage but is currently not married may be somehow unhappy or incomplete. Guys, I want to tell you, my life is good. I love my life. I'm happy. I could live like this forever. But if someone has something to offer me, and I'm sure they are there, then
I
they
have
are
a
welcome.
book to
but
offer
if you have nothing to offer, please keep your patriarchy. Those ends, I need nothing. Nothing. I have all the love. I have all the, guys, go on.
Yeah.
All right. More comments. Helen Echen says, I'm watching from Norway. Keep it up. Married is really a beautiful thing in the world when you find the right person. Theogene Ngirinshuti says, talk polygamy and androgamy, perpetual celibacy and monogamy, increase possibility so that people choose as they want. Ron Walisibi says, I think the wrong idea about marriage is going in with any other expectations except having fun. Marriage is fun if there are not silly expectations of kolachino, nkolechino. Even the hard times bring people closer and become fun when people are not role playing, but true friends and helpers to each other. Celebrating 15 years next week, and I can't imagine life without my wife because we have fun. Ron, we wish you the best with your celebrations. 15 years is quite a while, and I think I constantly follow your story with your wife on your Facebook. Nicolas then says, Professor Piwang makes a powerful anthropological argument about matrifocal societies. Patriarchy may be so overrated in so many circles. All right, guys, we need to close. So your parting shots from each and every one of you, the ones who want to give them. I'm not looking at Anne because she already read me the rules about looking at her. So the two of you.
No, I think that for me, I just think people should be honest about where and why they're getting into marriage, or whether they consider marriage as, that paper or a partnership. But also, like Opio said, if men feel pressured to get married, they should speak up. They shouldn't die in silence, because it's once you get married, it's between you and your partner. Society won't be there to come and put out the fire. So if you get pushed in there without your consent, then that will be on you. So I think everybody should get interested in this thing called marriage and why we still continue to judge women's successes in life based on whether they have a ring on their finger and children from their wombs.
All right, Florence, before you close, a few more comments. Sandra Kinsa says, the confusion about marriage is also real. People like Halima are cancelled because they have stuff of their own, while my mom keeps saying, don't get married unless you know you'll have your own way. God forbid the marriage doesn't work out, because most people suffer in marriages because they don't have a way out. So what has a girl got to do?
Yeah.
Flavia Laniero says, you know, two people coming together, it takes time to learn the other. Maybe the issue is people rushing to marry without studying the person. Otherwise, with the right partner and understanding, one is good. Kevin says, the idea is that history has laid out a path before you. Why wouldn't you follow what some consider a proven method for gratification? What many don't realize is that their idea of what a woman is supposed to do is the result of gender-biased standards ingrained into society as norms. Edna Ninsima writes to Nicolas Opio and says, it is exactly a patriarchal issue though. Yes, it is indeed true that men are pressured to, but that doesn't negate the former fact. After all, while it is the nature of that system to seemingly reward men while oppressing women, it is in, Edna, I'm saying women because I don't know how to pronounce, I've always failed to pronounce women, okay. It is in essence detrimental to all genders, even those beyond the binary. Otherwise, great job, Joseph, Florence, Anne, and Harriet. Susan Rever says, if anyone enters marriage for security reasons, that's a huge mistake, be it a man or woman. The issue marriage in our generation is tough. People are getting into it for all the wrong reasons, and the problem is wrong is the new right today. All right, over to you ladies to close.
Oh, we jump on that last one, Josephine. What are the fine, wrong, and right reasons? Some people, like I said, it's for convenience, and that works out perfectly for them because of this legal paper. And you find there's a marriage whereby it's an open marriage and they don't mind. They can even have other partners, sexual partners. But for them, they're in this marriage and it works out perfectly for them. So there's, you know, if you're like yours is love and, you know, you get into it for this, but the convenience aspect of it, that's why I said marriage is no longer that institution with so much treasure. You know, the golden age of marriage is honestly long behind us, guys. Deal with that. And you wait when
like that when you're speaking about that, you're actually waving your marriage finger at all of us, but carry on.
Yes, because I also chose why I made it, but you know, I wasn't bound to it. Oh my God, I remember.
We remember, but it's okay to change. It's okay to change your mind about things. So we are glad that you're happy where you are.
Yeah, I am happy. I am happy. He's a good partner. That's the best I can say.
Is it full of surprises?
Life is full of surprises. That's it. But anyway, guys, like I said, marriage is no longer, you know, it's less attractive because in the past it was about get married, have children, rear the children, woman, cook, do this, do that, do that. That's no longer the case. You want to pursue education, go pursue it. Women are choosing to get married even at later ages. Women are choosing even within marriage to have children at later ages. So marriage should no longer be defined by, you know, those societal needs of marriage, child, rear the child, cook for the man, do this, do that. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it works out beautifully for you. Go for it.
I kept hearing you saying rear the children, and it's been disturbing me so much because I don't know if we rear children or if we raise children, but I feel like I must say that, something about that.
Because it's been all about childbearing and child rearing. Like, that's the attachment.
The word rearing is my problem. It's the
I know, it's like that too.
Eating at me.
Like,
okay,
but I get
very quickly, Mark Patrick says, JK, I love your head wrap. Once again, I spoke about where I get my head wraps from, so big shouts out to Winnie who sends me the wraps from Bali. Olivia Rebecca says, the topic is vast. How I wish you could provide more time to cover this topic. I love listening to you ladies though. Thank you, Josephine. All right, Florence, sign out, and thank you very much, Harriet. Thank you, and thank you, Florence. Florence, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So guys, as usual, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. See you tomorrow for another exciting topic. Love you from Jamaica. In a little bit.
Bye. Love you.
Florence.
Oh, God.